Much. Joining me right now from Boston is someone who knows the struggles of leaving the Church of Scientology firsthand, Nancy Many. She's the former president of Celebrity Center International at the Church of Scientology and author of My Billion-Year Contract, Memoir of a Former Scientologist. Thanks for being here, Nancy. Appreciate it. Let's begin with what your take is of why Leah Remini left the church and what will happen now.
What's been expressed by both her sister and by friends close to her is her leaving the church didn't stress onto the spiritual matters, but more on the organizational structure and their policy of disconnection, which even though Scientology still denies it, it does happen. And unlike Lisa Marie, Leah made sure that her Scientology family was on board with her before she made this move. And that's very important because while she's losing friends left and right, she has her family. She has her mother. And Lisa Marie, well, Priscilla hasn't left. So she's in a very tough position.
I want to talk about why it is difficult, but just to be clear on this, the why she left. Do you have any particular insight into whether or not Leah Remini's questions about the church were substantiated? Do you know anything about this?
Well, I do know Shelley Miscavige has not been seen since 2006, right before Tom Cruise's wedding. And Leah herself signed a billion-year contract. And she was involved in that Inside C organization for over a year. And within that, they do have a rehabilitation project force, which her sister and herself were threatened with being sent to. And that is where people are kept 24/7, being watched and monitored. And nowadays, some people have been left there for 8 years, 10 years. Now, Shelley's only 9 years, so maybe we won't hear from her for a while.
Well, you know, to the uninitiated, a lot of this is very bizarre. It is one of the things that fuels the intrigue about Scientology. Disconnect, the C organization, the rehabilitation. You know, these are all very foreign concepts, but they all wind up connecting with one main question. How does the church maintain this level of power over people and their personal relationships?
This is a very high control group. And I say that in regards to members report on other members. In fact, this recent thing with David Miscavige came about when Leah confided in a very, very close personal friend her concerns. But her close personal friend was also a Scientologist, and as such, Scientology has a policy that she was to report this, which she did. She wrote a report on her private conversation with Leah expressing her personal doubts.
So they have their falling out. Leah decides to leave the church. Doesn't it just end there? What's the concern going forward?
The concern going forward is Nicole was in an interview with Tony Ortega yesterday, and she got a text from a very, very old friend who had been extremely active in Scientology. She was being ordered to come into the Celebrity Center International, where her daughter works. The threat being that if this woman did not disconnect from Leah and Nicole, she might not be speaking to her daughter anymore.
And that's
disconnection is a very common practice.
And it's an enforceable power. If they say they're going to disconnect from you, it happens.
It happens, yes. One woman, in fact, her son was disconnected from her because he remained in the church. He died, and they did not allow his mother to view his body. That's how powerful it goes.
Well, it's certainly bizarre to hear when you don't understand the workings of it, that's for sure. Ms. Many, thank you very much, Nancy, for giving us this insight. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Chris.